Hey gamers, Maniac here with GameXS.net doing our big ConnectiCon wrap-up. As you guys may know, Princess Angel and I attended ConnectiCon 2014 this year in Hartford Convention Center in Hartford, Connecticut. Had a blast. Got to check out quite a bit of the show. They had some new celebrities, they had some new panels, they had all kinds of new stuff going on this year, and I got to check out a lot of it. Princess Angel did get a chance to check it out with me. Unfortunately, she couldn't be with me today. But on behalf of her and myself, I want to talk about what I thought of the convention, just overall. I know it's been a bit, this video is coming a bit after the convention ended, but like with many things, I kind of need some time to, I basically need some time to ponder before I start giving my final thoughts about the event. This year's event was 4 days as opposed to 3. They did do something on Thursday. I believe the Nerd Prom was on Thursday, so it was really cool. They had a whole bunch of new celebrities attending this year, particularly Rob Paulson, Maurice LaMarche, the voices of Pinky and the Brain. Diedrich Bader, I believe this was his first year there. Jennifer Hale, voice of FemShep, or I remember Dr. Naomi Hunter from Metal Gear Solid. I believe this was her first year attending. Returning this year, really excited to see them back. The nostalgia critic, Doug Walker, was back. And it's just so, there's just so many to, like other, I was thinking about who's back. I was just thinking about a whole bunch of other new people that were coming in that have been in before. John Patrick Laurie, who I remember from No One Lives Forever, but he was also the voice of one of the characters in Team Fortress 2. The voice of GLaDOS, Ellen McLean, was there this year. Again, just so many people, both returning. It was just monumental, the amount of celebrities that we had that were there at the event. Princess Angel and I did get a chance to see some press-exclusive events, and if you're interested in seeing them, they're on my YouTube channel right now. You can click over to those on my channel. We also got a chance to see some of the not exclusive panels. Some of the panels, Walter Jones's. We got to see Walter Jones's panel. We got to see Jennifer Hale's panel, which was open to the public. We got to see at least one live panel of the Invader Zim, the guy who did the voice of Zim, Richard Stephen Horowitz, and the guy who did the voice of Gur. We got to see them at least twice. We got to see a press panel with them, and we got to see a public panel that they did. And both were just hilarious, absolutely hilarious. I'm going to talk about those particular panels later on. First off, once again, the venue was fantastic. The Connecticut Convention Center and the Hartford Convention Center is perfect, perfect venue for these conventions. They moved some things around. It basically took over Hartford. Typically they took over the convention center. This year they took over Hartford. There was a shuttle going around. A lot of the outside vendors were really, I hadn't seen this before in previous years, but some of the surrounding stores and restaurants and stuff like that were ConnectiCon branded and doing ConnectiCon special menus and stuff like that. I particularly like the Arch Street Tavern. I don't know if they were doing something ConnectiCon focused this year, but Princess Angel and I found that place last year, and we were really looking forward to eating there again, and we were not disappointed. That was a really nice place in Hartford to go eat. I really seemed to like it. I really liked it a lot. We also ate at this restaurant that was adjacent to a movie theater, which was across the street from the convention center. They did have a ConnectiCon menu, and they had some really good clam chowder. I gotta give them that. Burger Baby, I believe that's the name of their place. They were having shuttles to and from ConnectiCon from the convention center. They were part of the shuttle service. I thought that was really interesting. I think they were located near the XL Center. Also, the Hilton was part of it. They were doing shuttles between the convention center and the Hilton over there near the XL Center. They were part of it. The Marriott next door to the convention center was also part of it. They had panels. Mostly, I think the cosplay judging and the cosplay stuff was all taking place over there. I thought that was really nice. They separated out the vendors. There was a lot more room this year in the vendor area. I think it's because they might have expanded the size of the vendor area, but the vendor area was much more spaced out than it was in previous. It wasn't as tight walking around it. You could go and see stuff. And there was all kinds of different vendors. There were a couple of vendors returning. Guardians of the Galaxy was doing promotion stuff over there in the vendors area. Six Flags was doing an open job hunt. They needed people for their Halloween promotion thing. So Six Flags was basically doing a career fair over there. I thought that was kind of interesting. Some of the people that were attending were were selling their wares, Marble Hornets in particular. Princess Angel got to buy a t-shirt that they all autographed. Really nice guys, the Marble Hornets. We got to see them do a panel. And Princess Angel's a huge fan of theirs. And she got to meet them and you know, face to face, shake their hands. They were really nice people. Got really excited about buying a Marble Hornets shirt. So really happy about that. They were there. And by the way, we did actually record that panel. So if you're interested in seeing the Marble Hornets panel, we do have that panel on the YouTube channel as well, and you can check it out. So vendors were interesting. Also had a whole arcade sequestered off. I think the major arcade was taking place with all the game stuff was in the Hilton, but they did have some DDR stuff and stuff like that all set up on one of the floor landings. So there was a few DDR machines and as well as a couple of other machines that were all set up. We tried to get pictures of that. Unfortunately, we couldn't get any good pictures because we were trying to get the pictures off the while on the escalator. And as for the gaming, I know there was a Cards Against Humanity's tournament. There was a guy that I talked to while we were over there that was interested in playing. I gave him some tips. I have played Cards Against Humanity with Princess Angel and her friends, so I gave him a few tips. There were a bunch of other panels. Obviously, there was tabletop gaming. There was video gaming. There was cosplaying. When you step into the Hartford Convention Center every ConnectiCon, it's like you're stepping into another world. And this year, because there was so much going on in all these different spots that were all under the ConnectiCon banner, it was like when you were stepping into Hartford, you were stepping into another world. And I, for one, absolutely freaking loved it. I hope next year's is even bigger. That'd be really exciting. There were a few panels that come to mind that I really wanted to talk about. The biggest surprise, and what I thought was just, you know, the biggest surprise was a new group that was there, Beatdown Boogie, the group who did Mario Warfare as well as Modern War Gear Solid series. And they're working on some new series right now, which they couldn't really talk about, but they had just finished with Mario Warfare. Was in attendance. The guy who played Toad, the guy who played Mario, Matthew Sumner, was there. Alina, I believe her name is Alina. The girl who did Princess Peach was there. The director, of course, was there. A stunt guy, producer, co-writer was there. Really exciting to see everyone there. Unfortunately, the guy who played Luigi couldn't be there. But he did actually, they did get a conference call with him, or he did leave us a voice message. They showed a lot of stuff at that. This is what made the panel so exciting. Not only did we get a chance to ask them questions in the Q&A panel, but they did show a lot of footage. They got to show, they did show us episode 8, which I think we were like the first people, or among the first people to actually see it. So we did get a chance to see episode 8, the final episode of Mario Warfare. But not only that, we actually got to see a lot of exclusive footage that is probably only going to the people who were doing the Kickstarter panel. Particularly, there were certain goals that they explained were followed by the Kickstarter panels because they had run out of budget by about the time the second episode had been released. So they went to Kickstarter to finish up the series. And some of the Kickstarter stuff, or some of the stuff that they plan on releasing to the Kickstarters, we got to see that. In particular, some stuff that I really don't want to spoil, but we did get a chance to see the earlier versions of what would have been Mario Warfare before they decided on what was going to be Mario Warfare. It was really exciting to see, totally different take on Mario Warfare, but still exciting to see. We also got to see something that was specially planned for the Kickstarter involving Matthew Sumner and leaving whenever the moon was out. I don't want to spoil anything. Needless to say, we were laughing hysterically. It was a great video, and that'll be going to the Kickstarter people. The other panels that really stood out were obviously the Richard Horowitz and the Ricky Simmons panel, the Invader Zim panel that was open to the public. They did an open Q&A, just the two of them. They were obviously channeling their characters. It was really exciting to see them, to listen to them answer these questions. A lot of the questions that were asked by the fans were really funny. We did get a press panel that is also available on my YouTube channel. You guys can watch that. They did do a press-only panel, but it was a completely different beast. Seeing them do take press questions, and my simple questions, asking about Psychonauts and stuff like that. But also hearing the fans, and Princess Angel and I let the fans. We didn't ask any extra questions and stuff like that, but. There was one person in particular that really stood out, and if whoever's watching this video was at that panel and asked this question, I really respect you for making this statement. They thanked the two of them for one very particular reason, and it stood out to me personally, and I kind of want to go a little bit, not dark, but I kind of want to get a little serious for a second, because when they said this statement, it really got serious for me. They thanked Ricky Simmons and Richard Horowitz for one very particular reason. On behalf of the whole group, the people there in attendance and everything else, basically explained that, and I'm sure this is true for many different events, it wasn't just singling them out, but, for that person, the Invader Zim meant something to them because this was something that actually made them happy during a time when they were not happy. Now, everybody has times when they're not happy. But I think this person was bullied. That's just my read on it. But it just seemed to me like, after hearing that person say thank you, it seemed to me like this was a person who was likely bullied during those years. Bullied during high school or something like that. I couldn't tell how old they were. But it seemed like the series themselves, they wanted to thank them for having the series in the case of they were being bullied, and this was a series that they had to actually make them happy during a time that they don't look back fondly on otherwise. Now, I'll be the first one to admit that I think I mentioned this on previous videos, I have no positive memories of school whatsoever until high school. And I really don't want to get into it deeply, because there's just no point. That would be an entirely different video, not together. But I was thinking back on it after the event was over, just thinking back on, well, what are my positive memories from those years? What are my positive memories looking back 20 years or looking back 15 years and stuff like that? What are my positive memories looking back between like the early to mid 90s? And none of it involved school whatsoever. It all involved what video games were out, what TV shows were out, what movies were out, that sort of thing. Now, for some people, you would assume, oh, that means this person is not interested in school. Hey, I have my degree. I have a college degree. The fact that I was interested or uninterested in school is irrelevant. I obviously have my college degree, and I earned it. So that's not it. It's just that my school experience was not a positive one, at least not until I hit high school. When I hit high school, I had a very positive experience in high school. I enjoyed my high school quite a bit, and I enjoyed my college, somewhat. I enjoyed college a bit, but it seemed to me like maybe they felt like a lot of the people that were there, and the reason why they were such big fans, or the reason why they enjoyed this series so much, was because this was something that they had when otherwise they had no other enjoyment in life. Now, that's something heated, and I feel like everybody probably has their own opinion on that, and I welcome you all to post a comment on that one, because I'm not going to go any further on that one, but whether or not you believe that is up to you. You're right to your own opinions. Please post a comment. I really want to hear what you have to think about that. Otherwise, other panels that really stood out for me, but that just stood out for me in the otherwise awesome panel. Other stuff that they did mention, Richard Steven Horowitz did say that he would do Psychonauts 2 if they ever got the funding for it. He would be, he has worked with Double Fine since on several projects. He's worked most recently with Broken Age, not Ricky Simmons, Richard Horowitz. I'm talking about Richard Horowitz. He has worked with Double Fine since, and most recently on Broken Age, but previously also worked with them on Brutal Legend and stuff like that. Would work on Psychonauts 2 again, so I got my answer there. They did say that there were scripts that were interested in Invader Zim that they couldn't otherwise produce, but they did do readings of those scripts, and you can look for them online. I didn't get any of those on video, but I don't think they did any of them, but they said that those were otherwise available online. So if you're interested in any deleted scripts or deleted episodes that never made it to air, Richard Horowitz and Ricky Simmons have done those. So needless to say, go check those out. Another panel that stood out for me was the Jennifer Hale, the FemShep. that panel was also great. Unfortunately, her panel was brief. I think she only did about a half-hour panel. But she was asking pretty good questions, and I got a chance to ask her some good questions too, and I was really happy about that. A lot of the panels that she basically said was she described, and I think I tweeted this one out, she described her ideas behind the Paragon and the towards her mentalities, basically. What, Paragon was what she aspired to, and the other extreme spectrum, its name escapes me on the top of my head, was like what she secretly wished if she could do whatever she wanted, that would be how she would act, that sort of thing. There was one particular question I got a chance to ask her, particularly because I'm a huge Metal Gear Solid fan, as you guys might know. I remembered reading an interview with her shortly after the first Metal Gear Solid game came out in the United States, and I remembered reading her interview with her, I think from MetalGearSolid.net, which is not the current Metal Gear Solid.net. It was a different Metal Gear Solid.net at the time. It actually wasn't an interview with her. It was actually an interview with David Hayter, the voice actor for Solid Snake, who mentioned during the interview that Jennifer Hale, the girl who did the voice of Naomi, basically said specifically that the girl who was the voice of Naomi Hunter was like his great mentor or something like that. But she had stated during the Q&A panel that she had known David Hayter for years before then, which kind of struck odd to me. Like, why would he call her his great mentor if they had known each other for so long? And basically, she did have an answer for that. Apparently, she was the one who got him the job. So if you're ever curious, like, how they picked David Hayter, it was Jennifer Hale. Jennifer Hale apparently got him the job. And apparently, when you do that sort of thing, because it's an unwritten rule that you basically, I thought that was cool. So that answered my question right there. So there you have it. Jennifer Hale had gotten David Hayter the job, the voice of Solid Snake. That was great to find out. When I got to ask my question to when I was watching the John Patrick Laurie and the McLean panel, they did a panel together for the press. I did get a chance to ask John Patrick Laurie about No One Lives Forever. He is aware, he has said that he is aware that the series is getting a bit of a revitalization in popularity. And he told me he had a great job, a great time working with the guys who worked on the No One Lives Forever series, and would be more than happy to do No One Lives Forever again if he's asked to, but he hasn't heard anything. Either in the form of a future sequel or a remake or a reboot or something like that. He said that he hasn't heard anything about it just yet, so there's that. But he did say he enjoyed the voice, and he did say specifically that they did name the character after him. That was intentional. They did get the name wrong. I think they misspelled his name or something like that when they created the character, because he played a guy named Bruno Laurie, and I was curious, wait, John Patrick Laurie played a character named Bruno Laurie, but they spelled the names differently? Was he did say, he just basically said, yes, they did name it after me, because they enjoyed having me having me over to do the voice so much, that they did name the character after me, but they did admit in the error and misspelling. They were supposed to get it spelled right. I don't know if I'm breaking news there, but needless to say, that was something that was exciting. Walter Jones panel, the original Black Ranger. If there was anything I could have asked him, I would have asked him just really briefly to do a quick video basically asking Linkar to finish the History of Power Rangers video. Unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to ask him about that. But if I did have a chance to ask, people were asking him questions quite a bit, and actually most questions were really good. I wasn't one who did a recording of that panel, but there were people who did, and I'm sure you'll be able to find that panel online. Somebody did openly challenge him to a dance battle, which he accepted. And he did actually do a dance-off with someone that was attending the panel right there. There was also somebody else, they did this intentionally, I did later find out who this guy was, but it set the tone for the rest of the panel, just how exciting the panel was. The second he walked up on stage and sat down, somebody had set their ringtone to do the Power Rangers communicator beep, which is do-do-do-do-do-do. Somebody had sounded off that, and the second they did, Walter Jones basically did this. It's like, oh, sorry, force of habit, basically. Immediately, he wasn't wearing anything on his wrist, he just basically did this. He's like, sorry, force of habit. He also talked about why he had gone to the peace conference, basically what had happened with that. Apparently, it had to do with union, non-union, basically. The three characters that had left the series at that time on the middle of the second season, yeah, they wanted to go union. They wanted to basically get union, just for union protection, basically. They didn't want more money, or it had nothing to do with that. But it did have to do with the fact that Power Rangers wasn't non-union. I believe it is still non-union up to this day. The movie, however, they're talking about the movie will be union. But currently, I believe the series is non-union. And because of that, they were interested in union protection, and they were negotiating, but I guess the producers and directors decided up to the 11th hour, forget it, we'll just recast them, basically. So that's at least according to what Walter Jones had said. That's straight from Walter Jones's mouth. It had to do with basically union and union protection. And Walter Jones and the group wanted union protection, and basically they couldn't come to an amicable negotiation, and they were basically just recast. He also said that they were looking for people that could fight. They were looking for people with different styles. Obviously, people that were in the original series did get, but there were other casts that could have been used instead. He was, he basically got his training. He had done, he grew up he said, I think you remember him saying he grew up in Detroit. It might have been Chicago, but I'm pretty certain he said he grew up in Detroit, where there wasn't really much to do except, have fun with your friends and say, hey, I can jump over you, or I can jump over 3 people, that sort of thing, basically. And he basically learned how to do flips and stuff like that. And then later, eventually, he did the Wild West stunt show in Universal Studios. And then he left to do Power Rangers, and ironically enough, he said that as when he left, he was replaced by, at least on the Wild West Stunt Show, by Wayne Brady. The famous improvisation comedian Wayne Brady actually replaced him on that show. He says to this day they're always confused, basically, or at least people off the street will always confuse. Hey, you're Wayne Brady? No, you're Walter Jones. It's like, and apparently the two of them always found out years later, basically. Yeah, people always confuse the two of them. But I thought that was an interesting story. It was a really awesome panel. If you haven't checked it out, obviously I don't think my channel has it on YouTube, but I think that other people did record that panel, so you can totally check it out. Probably one of the most interesting panels that I saw of the press, unfortunately I didn't get a chance to record this, my battery died on my camera at the time, was the Diedrich Bader panel. Diedrich Bader panel you might know as the voice of Batman, the Brave and the Bold. You probably would also notice him as the neighbor on Office Space of the guy who basically said, what would you do with $1 million? He's like, I'll tell you what I'd do with $1 million. 2 chicks at the same time. And somebody had asked him what he thought about his role in Office Space and how he came up with that particular character in Office Space. And he basically said that he was going in for an open casting call for Office Space, and he knew the character that he was going to be playing. He decided he was going to go in, he was going to do some stoner hippie guy. And just before he went into to go meet with the director to go do the role, Owen Wilson had come in previously, who had done the stoner hippie, basically. And he's like, Owen Wilson had just gone in and done it. I can't do the same thing Owen Wilson just did, basically. And so he decided to do, and these are his exact words, he decided to do the character, a character basically emulating a guy that one time that fixed his air conditioning in Virginia. I am not joking about this. I might be breaking news on that one too, I don't know. But yes, particularly Diedrich Bader did say that he had in fact modeled or emulated his character in Office Space off a guy who fixed his air conditioning in Virginia one time. When I asked him what his favorite role of all time was, however, he did say Batman. He specifically said Batman. Somebody did ask him how he found that voice, how he did the voice. Now, for those of you who don't know, Diedrich Bader had done the voice of Batman for The Brave and the Bold. That's the animated series that I believe was on Cartoon Network. It wasn't it was particularly modeled after the Brave and the Bold series from the Silver Age. So it was a Silver Age type Batman where he was doing kind of, in some cases, some zany stuff. Team-ups were quite common in the Brave and the Bold series. And we asked him how he found that voice, and he basically responded, well, I am doing an impersonation of Kevin Conroy because I know that I can't do better than Kevin Conroy. But there's a little Adam West put in there too, particularly because I knew that Batman was going to be setting up a lot of jokes, basically. And so you had to, I had to do a little bit of Adam West in there, basically to meet the times as well as meet the setup, in order to basically do the setups. He basically kind of established Batman as that. However, he did say he most enjoyed the roles where he had to basically, in particular, I think he said his favorite episode was, no surprise here, I was not surprised by this answer, he did particularly say that his favorite episode was the one where Batman confronts Joe Chill for the first time. And having seen clips of that particular episode, that is considered to be by many people who were fans of that series their favorite episode of all time. In particular, I think the Blockbuster Buster is specifically listed. That is one of his favorite episodes of the series, including like Knights of Tomorrow or something like that was one of his other favorites. But I was not surprised by his response at that. Other comments I thought was kind of funny. When we asked, we got to meet Maurice LaMarche. We got to see Maurice LaMarche, the voices of Pinky and the Brain. They did a press panel as well as we also got a chance to see an open panel with them as well, where they did, as Pinky and the Brain, a rendition, a reading of Green Eggs and Ham, which was wonderful, absolutely wonderful. They also did a reading of they literally, I believe, Rob Paulson, and he can to this day do the entire song from Animaniacs in the voice of Yakko Warner, basically as all the countries basically, and he did that for the whole audience off memory. United States, Canada, Mexico, Panama. That's all I know. I can't do any more, unfortunately. But he did the whole thing and said that he did get the rights with Warner Bros. Permission. He's taking it on the road. He's going to basically, he's got a symphony or he's got some group or something like that of singers and stuff, and he's going to be doing these songs on the road. Maurice LaMarche, I remember particularly from the voice of Egon Spengler on the real Ghostbusters, which I loved growing up. I loved that animated series growing up. I'm a huge Ghostbusters fan as a kid. And I also was a fan of Maurice LaMarche when he reprised his role as Egon Spengler when they did the Extreme Ghostbusters series, which ironically enough is a series that nobody seems to remember. I loved that series, and I think it still holds up even to this day, ironically enough. The unfortunate thing about that series is that nobody seems to remember it, and unfortunately that panel was so popular, even though it was the press panel. Heck, even Diedrich Bader himself sat in on that panel. I didn't get a chance to ask him any questions, unfortunately. The panel room was just way too excited and enthusiastic. Everybody, it seemed, was interested in seeing this panel, even in the press. That was, like, I think, probably one of the most popular panels. The John Patrick Laurie and the Ellen McLean panel notwithstanding, I believe that was, at least of that day, that was probably the most popular press panel. And really exciting. It was great to hear these guys reminisce about these things. Somebody asked him how he found the voice of Egon Spengler, and he basically said, he did an impersonation of Harold Ramis. Ironically enough, they were told not to do impersonations of the characters. Ernie Hudson himself famously was actually not given, he had tried out to voice the role of Winston Zeddemore. I've seen some people tell the story online. Apparently they confirmed it. And apparently Ernie Hudson himself had an audition for the role, for the voice of Winston Zeddemore in the real Ghostbusters series and didn't get it. Famously, Arsenio Hall got it, actually. So they basically said, look, you don't do impersonations, do your own thing. And Maurice LaMarche basically went and did an impersonation and got the job. So there you have it. So that was an exciting panel to check out. Other stuff, oh gosh, where to get started on all this stuff? I mean, those are just a couple of panels. Just how much stuff do I basically have to say about these things, about these panels and everything else? Some of the most exciting panels was, probably the most popular panel that I saw was the Deathmatch panel. That is a yearly event. Put it intentionally in the biggest panel room, the auditorium, was where they had the death match. And needless to say, it was full. That panel room didn't fill, at least for any other. I mean, they had all the major panels, all the major people that were there. Like, they put the Maurice LaMarche panel in there and the Rob Paulson panel in there. They put the Ricky Simmons and the, Richard Stephen Horowitz, the Invader Zim panel in there. They put the Nostalgia Critic panel in there, which the Nostalgia chick in her and her group actually did crash. They put those panels in there, and even then, they did not fill to the enormous capacity that the death match filled to. I got pictures just of the crowd for the death match. What can you say about that death match? For those of you who don't know, the death match is a cosplay competition where the audience, based on their cheer, chooses who gets to fake win a battle with the other particular person in the basically it's 2 by 2. It's a bracket competition. People in costume show up for the competition, and they fight. They basically, based upon audience, they do a little bit of a bit of play fighting basically, and whoever is chosen by cheer of the audience is the winner. Competitors this year included Jorgen from the Fairly Odd Parents, Bill Nye the Science Guy, a grown version of the Powderpuff Girls, Princess Kenny. Kenny dressed up as Princess, similar to how Kenny looked in the new South Park video game, The Stick of Truth. Other competitors included, gosh, there were so many competitors. The Four Swords Lynx, meaning the team of 4 Lynx in the proper Link colors from Four Swords Adventures. Jessica Rabbit, Cobra Commander. It was awesome. It was just an awesome event. The room was so full of electricity. Personal favorites who ended up doing very well in the event. Cobra Commander did very well. Jorgen from, but the 2 most popular. Let me dial back. Other popular ones, obviously, the Four Swords Lynx did very well. Jessica Rabbit did pretty well, although she couldn't beat Cobra Commander. She lost to Cobra Commander. Princess Kenny lost to the grown Powerpuff Girls team. But the biggest surprises of the top winners, the 2 biggest winners of the night were Jorgen from the Fairly Odd Parents and Bill Nye the Science Guy. The winner was Bill Nye the Science Guy, a guy, with science. Defeated, science over magic, I will defeat you with science. Literally threw the book at him. With the help of a portal torrent and, I don't remember her name, but the teacher from the Magic School Bus, with the help of them, defeated the death match. It was a great event. It was a great event. It really was. That was one for the ages right there. The deathmatch panels. If you ever attend ConnectiCon, you have to do the deathmatch panels. My regret was, if in case there are panels I missed that I really wanted to see, particularly I wanted to see the Pokemon Bridge panel, and I'm really upset that I got to miss that. But unfortunately what happened was that they scheduled the Pokemon Bridge panel at the exact same time of the deathmatch as well as the Nostalgia Critic panel. Though it was basically at the exact same time, and unfortunately you can't be in 2 places at once, so we had to miss the Pokemon Bridge panel. I was really upset about that. No Whacking and One Kid's Entertainment were there. I really enjoyed seeing them at ConnectiCon. I really wanted them to meet Princess Angel because they all, it seems like they guys all know me, and I've been to every ConnectiCon, so these guys, they know me. We were really buddy at ConnectiCon this past year. But I really wanted to meet Princess Angel. I really wanted Princess Angel to meet him because she's never been able to go to ConnectiCon, and unfortunately, we couldn't. It just couldn't happen. I'm hoping maybe at some point somebody will post that panel up. I'd really like to see it. That was my one regret. Unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to see that particular panel. I really wish I could have. Other than that, oh God. It was a great show. There are videos available on my website and on my YouTube channel of some of the events. Princess Angel and I finally got a chance to do a Street Pass panel. I've been wanting to do a Street Pass video, particularly types. Unfortunately, I don't know how well I was able to. I'm still not happy. I may do more Street Pass videos later on, but it's always great to bring a Nintendo 3DS to a convention, because the way the 3DSs work, if you've seen some of my other videos or my Street Pass videos or you own a 3DS, these things can transmit your Miis to other Miis, onto other 3DSs. So when 2 players wirelessly walk past each other, you get a green light on both systems, and basically you can use their Miis in your games and they can use your Miis in their games. It's really and the more you interact with somebody, the more times you street pass them, the more powerful and more useful their characters become, which is great. The problem was that we didn't get a chance to do much B-roll on that because we were basically just swamped with the amount of panels that we wanted to do. There was no shortage of good panels at this event, and because of that, we just didn't get a chance to get a really good to get enough B-roll. Princess Angel did get a lot of photos, particularly of some of the panels. She did get a lot of photos of the death match as the event was going on. Oh, another event that was pretty cool. I got to see this. Princess Angel and I are... Princess Angel did not say she's a fan of Glee, and I am certainly not a fan of Glee, especially after what happened with Jonathan Colton and that whole thing. But her mother is a huge Glee fan, watches Glee. And they actually did have a in-character Glee, how do I put this, dating game. They did the dating game, actually. They did a version of the dating game in the style of Glee, in character of Glee, where there were a few cosplayers like Lara Croft and stuff like that, who basically got on stage and tried to basically win, again, a Glee character, basically win a Glee character. And the cool thing about it was that everything was done in character. There was, I think, one performance that they did, which I thought was pretty funny. It was theater. It was a little theatrical skit. It was funny. I'm not a fan of Glee at all, like I said, but obviously these guys were not affiliated with it, so it was fine with me. They were just a bunch of people in character, so it worked out really well. They did 3 rounds. They were all funny. I got to watch them with Princess Angel. It was really cool. Once again, the show just basically outdid themselves once again. I can't even imagine what they're going to do for next year. If they're going to do an event next year, hey, sign me up. I would totally love to go again. Princess Angel, unfortunately, had a bit of an issue with her MacBook after the event. She took, like I said, she took a lot of photos of the event. Unfortunately, her MacBook, her hard drive corrupted, actually. Her MacBook hard drive corrupted shortly after the event. While she does have backups, it basically put her back a week. I had to repair her MacBook and reformat it, basically. We were able to recover her data. She didn't lose anything, basically. But it did put her behind at least a week. So we're going to have to wait at least a little bit longer for her photos of the event to go up online. So anybody interested in seeing Princess Angel's photos will probably just have to wait a little bit longer. She had a laptop failure, basically. It took a week for me to fix it. So it was, it's just these things happen. So you guys, they will be coming. There were photos taken. They are, they're existing. Even if I have to end up replacing her laptop's hard drive completely, we still have backups on it. So they will be coming out. Just wait a little bit longer for them. I would like to thank the ConnectiCon organizers for inviting Princess Angel and myself. You guys, particularly Leo over at ConnectiCon, for inviting us. You guys will be seeing more ConnectiCon content coming up. Once Princess Angel's photos are uploaded, I will be linking to those either here or on my website, gamingsess.net. Looking forward to next year. Really excited. Thank you guys again for inviting us. One hell of an event. If you guys have not been to ConnectiCon and you're on the fence about going, I have to say, totally worth it. Totally worth it. It was amazing. Great event, great time, all around. And next year is looking to be even bigger. So until next time, guys, this is Maniac with gamingsess.net on behalf of Princess Angel and myself. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you, ConnectiCon organizers. Over and out.